I was carrying paint samples up the stairs when I heard my brother's voice drift from the kitchen below. Maya's not getting a dime when we sell this place. She's been freeloading long enough. My foot froze on the 13th step. The paint chips scattered from my hand, falling like confetti onto the hardwood I'd spent 3 weekends refinishing. The house went silent except for the hum of the new dishwasher I'd installed last month. Are you sure that's legal? My sister Ashley's voice, uncertain but interested. The deed's in Dad's name, my brother Derek continued. Maya never paid rent, never contributed anything real. Just her little craft projects. 2 years of renovations, new plumbing, electrical work, a completely rebuilt kitchen. $60,000 of my own money poured into making this place livable again after Dad's stroke. All of it dismissed as crafts. I pressed my back against the wall, heart hammering, and listened to them plan my eviction. When do we list it? Ashley asked. Next month, Dad's voice, weaker since the stroke but still decisive. Maya can find her own place. She's 32. It's time. What about all the work she's done? Mom's voice barely audible. Derek laughed. What work? Painting walls? Anyone can do that. The house is worth $400,000 now. Split 3 ways. We each get over $100,000. 3 ways, not 4. I wasn't even counted. I backed down the stairs slowly, avoiding the spots that creaked. In my room, the converted basement that flooded every spring until I fixed the foundation, I sat on my bed and stared at the walls I'd insulated, the ceiling I'd drywalled, the floor I'd waterproofed. They called it freeloading. I called it home, but I had something they didn't know about, something that was going to change everything. 3 months ago, my great-aunt Helen had died. She was Mom's sister, the one who never married, never had kids, and who everyone assumed was broke because she lived in a tiny apartment and drove a 20-year-old Honda. The lawyer had called me directly. Helen had left me everything. Not much, he'd said. A small savings account, some bonds, and a storage unit full of what looked like junk. The junk turned out to be 3 decades of careful investing. Stock certificates, municipal bonds, and a safe deposit box containing enough cash to buy a house outright. Helen hadn't been poor. She'd been smart. She'd also left a letter. Maya, they think you're weak because you're kind. They think you're foolish because you work with your hands. Show them the difference between weakness and strategy. I'd kept it quiet, put the money in a private account, and continued living in the basement, renovating their house, listening to their complaints about my unrealistic dreams of opening a restoration business. Now I understood why Helen had been so specific about keeping it secret. I opened my laptop and started researching property records, market values, and real estate law. If they wanted to sell the house, they had to list it. And if it was listed, anyone could make an offer, even me. That night at dinner, Derek brought it up casually. Maya, we need to talk about your living situation. I looked up from my pasta. What about it? Well, he glanced at Mom and Dad. We've been thinking it might be time for you to get your own place. Why? You're an adult. You should be independent. I nodded slowly. How much time do I have? The house is going on the market next month, Ashley said. So maybe 6 weeks? 8 at most. That's reasonable, I said. They looked surprised. Derek had clearly been prepared for tears, arguments, begging. Instead, I finished my dinner and went back to the basement. The next morning, I called Helen's lawyer. I want to make an offer on a property, I said. Cash purchase. How quickly can we move? If the seller is motivated? 2 weeks, perfect. I spent the weekend researching comparable sales, getting the house appraised, and calculating exactly how much my renovations had increased its value. Turns out, my craft projects had added nearly $100,000 to the property. Derek listed the house on a Tuesday. By Thursday, I'd submitted an offer through a shell company I'd created. $20,000 over asking price, all cash. 7-day close. They accepted immediately. I didn't tell them it was me until the day of closing. Derek called me that morning, voice tight with excitement. Maya, you need to pack faster. We got an incredible offer. Some investment company wants to close today. That's great, I said. I'm happy for you, for us. This is amazing. The buyer even wants to keep some of the furniture. I met them at the lawyer's office at 2 p.m. They were already there, dressed in their best clothes, talking about their plans for the money. Derek wanted to buy a boat. Ashley was planning a European vacation. Mom and Dad talked about finally retiring. I walked in wearing jeans and a work shirt, carrying a folder. Maya, Derek waved me over. Come meet our buyer. He stopped, looked at me, looked at the folder in my hands. What are you doing here? I sat down at the conference table. I'm here for the closing. Who's closing? Ashley asked. I opened the folder and placed the purchase agreement on the table. At the top, in clear print, was my name. Maya Rodriguez, buyer. The silence stretched like a broken wire. That's not possible, Derek said. It's very possible, the lawyer confirmed. Miss Rodriguez made a cash offer on the property. All contingencies have been met. Dad leaned forward, face red. Maya, what is this? It's me buying the house, I said simply. With what money? Ashley's voice was sharp, suspicious. And Helen's inheritance. Mom went pale. Helen left you money? Helen left me everything. Enough to buy this house and several others if I wanted. Derek stood up so fast his chair fell backward. This is insane. You can't just buy our house. It's not your house, I said. It was Dad's house. Now it's mine. The lawyer cleared his throat. If we could proceed with the signing, they signed because they had to. The contracts were binding, but their faces told a different story. Shock, anger, and something that looked like fear. After the papers were signed and the keys officially transferred to me, I stood up. You have 30 days to vacate, I said. 30 days? Mom whispered. Standard notice period for tenants, the lawyer confirmed. Derek's face was purple. You're evicting your own family? I'm evicting people who called me a freeloader and planned to leave me homeless, I said. There's a difference. I left them sitting there, documents scattered across the table like the remains of their plans. That evening, I walked through my house. Not the family house, my house. I ran my hands along the kitchen cabinets I'd installed, tested the new light switches I'd wired, admired the crown molding I'd measured and cut and nailed into place. Every room told the story of my work, my money, my vision. And now it was legally, officially, permanently mine. Derek showed up the next morning while I was having coffee on the porch swing I'd built last summer. You can't be serious about this, he said. About which part? Kicking us out. We're family. I sipped my coffee. Family doesn't usually plot to make each other homeless. We weren't going to make you homeless. We just thought you thought I didn't deserve a share of the profits from my own work. He sat down heavily on the porch step. We didn't know about Helen's money. Would it have mattered? He was quiet for a long time. Probably not, he admitted. Then we understand each other. Maya, please. Mom and Dad are seniors. They can't just find a new place in 30 days. They managed to plan my eviction pretty efficiently, I said. I'm sure they'll figure it out. He tried anger next. This is vindictive. This isn't who you are. You're right, I said. The old me would have quietly moved out and let you profit from my work. But the old me didn't understand that kindness without boundaries is just an invitation to be used. Ashley came by that evening with a different strategy. Tears, Maya, I'm sorry. We were wrong. But please don't do this to Mom and Dad. I'm not doing anything to them, I said. I'm doing something for me. They raised you. They gave you a home, and I spent 2 years improving it with my own money while living in a basement that flooded every spring. We're even. You're being cruel. I'm being clear. There's a difference. She tried one more angle. What about Christmas? Family dinners? You're destroying everything. I looked at her, really looked. Ashley, when was the last time you asked how I was doing? Not what I could fix or build or pay for, but how I was actually doing. She opened her mouth, then closed it. That's what I thought, I said. The 30 days passed quickly. I helped them pack. even drove a truck to their new rental apartment across town. I wasn't cruel about it, but I wasn't apologetic either. On their last day, Mom lingered in the kitchen, running her hands over the granite countertops I'd installed. "These are beautiful," she said quietly. "Thank you, I never really looked at them before." "Any of it really?" I nodded. "We took you for granted," she continued. "I see that now. Yes, you did. I'm sorry. I know you are." She turned to me, eyes wet. "Can you forgive us?" "I already have," I said. "But forgiveness doesn't mean things go back to the way they were." "What does it mean?" "It means I'm not angry anymore, but I'm also not available to be taken advantage of anymore." Dad appeared in the doorway, looking older than his 70 years. "This is really it?" he asked. "This is really it," he nodded slowly. "For what it's worth, I'm proud of what you've done here. The house, I mean. It's beautiful." "Thank you. I should have said that sooner." "Yes, you should have." After they left, I walked through the empty rooms. Their voices echoed for a while, but gradually faded, replaced by the sound of wind through the new windows I'd installed, the hum of the efficient HVAC system I'd upgraded, the settling of a house that finally felt like home. I ordered pizza and ate it sitting on the kitchen floor, looking up at the exposed beam ceiling I'd created by removing a false drop ceiling that had hidden the original architecture. 6 months later, I used the remaining inheritance money to buy 2 more houses on the same street, fixer-uppers that the neighbors complained about, that brought down property values, that everyone said were hopeless. I renovated them one by one, using everything I'd learned from fixing the family house. When I finished, I rented them to young families who reminded me of myself. People who were told they weren't good enough, smart enough, successful enough to own their own homes. Derek drove by sometimes. I'd see his car slow down as he passed my houses, and I wondered what he thought about his sister's craft projects now that they filled half the block. Ashley sent a Christmas card the first year. A generic one with no note inside. I sent one back with a photo of the 3 houses and a simple message. "Thanks for the motivation. Mom called on my birthday. The house looks beautiful," she said. "I drove by yesterday. Thank you. You were right to buy it. I see that now. I know. The neighbors say you're fixing up the whole street. I'm working on it. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of me too." There was a long pause. "Do you think, could we have dinner sometime? I'd like to see what you've done with the place." I looked around the living room where I was sitting. The built-in bookshelves I designed and installed, the fireplace I'd restored, the hardwood floors I'd refinished 3 times until they gleamed. "Maybe," I said, "but we'd have to talk about what happened. Really talk about it." "I understand. And it would have to be on my terms, in my house, with my rules. Of course, we haven't had that dinner yet. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. The difference is, now it's my choice. The restoration business is thriving." Turns out there are a lot of people who want to save old houses that everyone else has given up on. And there are a lot of people who've been underestimated by their families, who understand what it means to be dismissed and then to prove everyone wrong. I keep Helen's letter framed in my office, next to a photo of the house the day I bought it and another photo of what it looks like now. Show them the difference between weakness and strategy. It says, "I think I have." Every morning, I wake up in the master bedroom I created by combining 2 smaller rooms. I make coffee in the kitchen I designed. I sit on the porch I built and look at the street I'm transforming, house by house, family by family. They thought I was weak because I worked with my hands. They thought I was foolish because I cared more about creating than accumulating. They thought I was disposable because I gave without keeping score. But what they saw as weakness was actually strength. What they mistook for foolishness was vision. And what they dismissed as disposability was the very quality that would save me when they tried to throw me away. I didn't just buy their house. I bought my freedom from their limitations, their assumptions, their small ideas about what I could become. The house is still standing. So am I, and sometimes, The person everyone underestimates is the one who ends up owning everything.